Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In the collection of the 40 Hadith by Imam Nawawi, he narrates a Hadith from Abu Huraira, in which the Prophet ﷺ gave us some very important advice. Do not envy one another. Do not deceptively overbid one another. Do not hate one another. Do not turn your backs on each other. Do not undercut one another's sales. Servants of Allah, but be brothers. A Muslim is the Muslim's brother. He does not oppress him or abandon him. He does not lie to him or look down on him. Righteousness, taqwa, is here, and he pointed to his heart 3 times. It is enough evil for a person to look down on his brother Muslim. The whole of a Muslim to another Muslim is inviolable. His life, property, and honor. This very important hadith teaches us that Islam is a commitment to respect Muslim individuals and the community. That part of my being a Muslim is that I respect other Muslims and I respect human rights in general of all people. The Prophet ﷺ said, first of all, do not envy one another. Of course, we know that the commandment not to envy is one of the important universal commandments which have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all the prophets of Allah, which have been found in the Torah, for example, in the Gospel of Jesus, and in all teachings of all prophets, and of course in the Quran and in the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Envy is a kind of poison that exists in the relations between different people, between me and the people around me. If I have envy, it means that I am ingrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessings that He has given for me. And I lack confidence or iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, is the source of all my blessings, and that He will give me and has the ability to give me whatever sustenance I need in my life. And yet, when I see somebody else who has something that I lack, I want that, and I wish that that would be taken away from that person and given to me. I feel that if my brother so-and-so has this wealth or this beautiful house, that I'm not going to be happy until I get that house taken away from him and given to me. At least, if I can't have everything, I don't want you to have anything either. At least I will be happy if you are suffering. This is exact opposite of the Islamic attitude. So the Islamic attitude towards each other as brothers or as sisters comes from our belief and iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That when I have confidence in Allah and I trust in Allah and know that Allah is going to give me everything that I need, and if I strive, I will be able to live in this life, inshallah, then I will not need whatever so-and-so has or whatever so-and-so has, and I will not desire it. Now, many times we say that I'm envious of somebody. I see somebody, for example, a very knowledgeable and great scholar, and I say, I'm envious of him. But that's not what is meant by this hadith. Or I see a wealthy Muslim, and I see that person is doing many good deeds, building mosques or doing acts of charity with his money, and I'm envious, meaning that I desire to be like that person. That is not what is meant by envy in this case. So if I see a person of great knowledge, or a person of beautiful worship and conduct, and I desire to emulate that person, that is a good thing. That's not envy. Envy means trying to take away what that person has and getting it for yourself alone. If I see a wealthy person as a Muslim, most of us don't like poverty. And in fact, poverty is a very near thing to kufr or disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when a person is suffering in poverty, they often lose hope, and they often start to blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their suffering. And so it's very easy for a person who is suffering greatly to lose hope in Allah, and we should all seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from poverty. As the Prophet ﷺ did in every one of his prayers, he would seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from poverty. So we all would like to have a certain portion of wealth in this world. And all of us know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to each person at the time of their conception, when they're still in the womb of their mother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decrees exactly what property we're going to own, how wealthy we're going to be. But we strive to obtain whatever we can obtain, and we're thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. There's a way of curing envy, and that is that instead of always looking at those people who have much more than me and seeing the lifestyle of the rich and famous, instead I look at those people who are unfortunate, who have less than me, and that will make me thankful for my own benefits that I enjoy, and it will make me also compassionate towards others, instead of inspiring me to envy others and wish that I had what they had. This source of envy must be eliminated from our souls, and the only way to do that is to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, learn about Allah's beautiful and perfect attributes, so that we have confidence and hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I don't feel that after that I will have to take from others in order to benefit for myself. The next thing the Prophet ﷺ taught is what is called overbidding, or it's called najis. And this term especially relates in sales that are done by auction, which is a competitive bidding, where there is a group of people and they're offered one particular item and they compete with each other until the one who is ready to offer the highest price, then that person obtains that item. And so in an auction, each person who gives a bid must have the desire for trying to obtain that item. What is forbidden here is not competing with each other. So you and I are in an auction, there's something that we need or desire for sale, and I try to buy it, and you bid above me and I bid above you, and eventually you bid more than I'm willing to pay. So you think the object is worth more to you, and you're willing to pay more than I'm willing to pay or able to pay. And so you are permitted, and of course it is permitted to you to buy that item for the price which you have bid. What is forbidden here is that you will participate in this auction only to drive the price up, and you have no desire whatsoever to obtain the item yourself. So I know you want to buy this car, and I know you have $1,000, but I want to hurt you in some way. So I purposely bid up the price of that car till it gets above $1,000, because I know you won't be able to buy it, because I don't want you to buy it out of my hate or spite for you. Or sometimes a corrupt auctioneer or corrupt merchant will make an auction, put an item up for bid, and he will have people sitting in the audience who are really working from him. They're working for his interest, and they're bidding the price up above what the other people would actually pay. And so they're working for this corrupt auctioneer. That is what is forbidden by the Prophet ﷺ. This can also be extended to other meanings, making false claims, advertising that your product does many great things and it doesn't do those things, selling defective merchandise to people, selling you an item and hiding from you some of the defects of that item, which if you knew about them, you would not pay that price for. Doing items like this, of course, doing behaviors like this, trying to unlawfully control prices in the market, like buy up all of the rice in a marketplace, and then if I store up all the rice and hoard it, nobody else will be able to buy it unless I offer it for an extremely high price. That's called hoarding, and that is also not allowed in Islam. The Prophet ﷺ then said, do not hate one another. Now this seems like a very difficult commandment for us, because we don't, of course, control what is in our hearts. Sometimes I see certain people, and something about that person, his behavior, his look, something makes me love that person. Then I meet some other people, there's something about them that I don't like, or I may hate. And it may be an Islamically legitimate reason that I love people who are practicing Islam and good examples of Islam, and I hate it when I see bad un-Islamic behavior. Or it may be something simply personal, some habits of people. And so we can't control what's in our hearts. And sometimes there may be a perfectly good person who I feel in my heart something about, and I am not comfortable with that person or hate that person. We can't control that. What the Prophet ﷺ meant when he said is, do not do hateful behaviors towards each other. So for example, you and I disagree about things. I'm not allowed to use my disagreement with you to try to cause harm to you. Nor should we divide ourselves into groups and factions, fighting each other because we're jealous or hate or hate each other. So very often we find people, for example, leaders in the Islamic community, but they have a personal problem, and the two dislike each other, and so they cause factional division, and each one takes some of the Muslim community and divides them and brings them to himself. They're only loyal to that person whom they like, and they do evil things and say evil things about the person whom they do not like, and this is not permitted in Islam. The Prophet ﷺ also said here, do not turn your back upon each other. Do not cut off relations from each other except for legitimate reasons. And do not try to cut off sales. If I make an agreement with my brother, he sells me something for $5, then you come to me and say, oh, give that back to him and I'll sell the same thing to you for less. After we already engaged in the agreement, that's not allowed. Do not seek to hurt each other, oppress each other. Do not abandon people with need, but support each other as a community. And that is the basic Islamic building block of community. Do not lie. Hearing the truth from your Muslim brother is your basic human right, not to be lied to, not to be deceived. Do not belittle others. Don't look down upon people who are poorer than you, less knowledgeable than you, not from the same race or same culture as you, but treat people as your brothers and treat them equally, and respect the private property and honor and person of every Muslim and of every human being. وَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.